Oh, hello. Welcome, everybody. Just waiting for the lobby load, and we will get up to racing. So, everyone in chat, let me know how you guys are doing tonight. You guys are excited to watch some PPR action. This is it'll be Xbox Division 4 tonight here at Singapore. We've had some exciting races so far this week, so pretty excited to see what we have tonight and what's going to be going on for us, and really get the commentary rolling once qualifying begins to start. So right now, just chilling in the lobby, waiting for everything to start. Should be up in about a minute or two. So, and thank you to everyone who's currently tuning in this early in the stream, and also on a Friday night. Love getting viewers on Friday nights when you could be doing other things in your life. You are tuning in to PPR Esports, and it is greatly appreciated from all of us here. But looks like we're about to get the lobby up and running. So I'm very excited to see what this race has to offer. We've seen some crazy action throughout the week from our PC divisions and from our Xbox D1, D2, and D3 already this week. Xbox Division 1, if some people have not watched that race, was filled with rain, wet from the start, had about 4 laps of dry, and finished off with rain at the end. So it was a very interesting race. PCD2 ended in a controversial fashion due to safety car glitch, but PC Division 1 was very exciting. Lots of action there, as well as our Xbox Division 2 race with a safety car, I believe, about 4 laps out before the end of the race. And that created some major drama, as we saw the likes of TRC Platinum and Deluxe Cord battle in the very early stages of that race, falling all the way back. Both ended up with wing damage at the end. Platinum falling outside of the points. Indian Cyclone, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Crush. Indian Cyclone got his very first victory in PPR, so congratulations to him. That is quite a feat. I remember my first podium in one of my first league races, and that was made you feel like you're actually competing in a sport. So congratulations to Indian Cyclone for that on a Tuesday night. But here we are now in the start of qualifying. See here, got 17 drivers tonight. Looks like it's going to be a clear night here for qualifying. Hopefully the same in the race, because Singapore is a very tricky circuit to get right in the wet. But we'll now just wait for all of our drivers to load up their setups, get their tires fitted on, and head out of their pit boxes to set their very first laps of the night. All right, and we are currently on board with the Alfa Romeo of the Zoom 22841. As he's just around about here through sector, will now into sector number 3. As we've had a very closely contested championship battle, as I'll bring up the points for you guys, because it has been quite the thriller here in Xbox Division 4 when it comes to our championship chase. This is round 14 of 21, and because of that, we are ending the end of the season in the latter stages, and at the moment, we have the two Racing Point drivers battling it out for the top spot. Funky Cactus is currently 30 points behind his teammate of Vexing Track as they compete for the championship title. Vexing Track has 190 points. Meanwhile, Funky Cactus has 150. So definitely, he's 40 points back. These standings have weird gaps on them. Yes, so Vexing Track is up 40 points, I'm sorry, on his teammate of Funky Cactus, but you can't leave him out because just one DNF and everything can change here, as we're still on board here with the Zoom. As I fix my RB button so we can get the camera on there. The Zoom, so far so good on his lap. Currently out here on the medium set of tires. Now rounds about turn 22 and 23 here, the penultimate corners. And across the line for our first lap of the night, it's a 1:39.3. Definitely not the fastest lap there on the mediums. He's definitely want to improve from that time here in the session. Got the rest of our drivers coming across. That is PPR Ollies now in the Williams, a 1:37.5 there on the softs. Got a Ferrari coming up. And it looks like that might have been an invalidation. We don't see a time coming up on the screen here. We have the other Alfa Romeo of Father Corn. Looks like he's invalidated his lap, so that one will not count. We'll go up to Besteon with a 1:37.7, 2/10 off there from PPR Ollies, currently provisioning second place. I do apologize if the cameras spam out a little bit here on the changes tonight. Currently dealing with a broken RB button on my controller, so hasn't been too much of a problem for all of our other streams, but just in case we do have a little bit of a staggering here tonight, that will be why. Looks like the Real Stallis has abandoned his lap. Got a race point coming up. That's Funky Cactus there. Got a 1:38.6 on the hards as well, so very nicely done there by Funky. Definitely showing why he is in championship contentions this year in Xbox Division 4. As Sprightly now has crossed the line there on the hards in the Mercedes. Cross the line there, the 141.4. Looks like we have a Alfa Romeo sitting sideways. Oh, and that's going to be the likes of Father Corn there. Looks like he is completely turned backwards and destroying the rest of his wing. Looks like he lost it there at the Anderson Bridge, right at the hairpin. But luckily for him, he's not lost a tire, just some front wing, and he'll be able to bring it back in the pits and start another lap very shortly for him. We'll now take it on board here with LDR Redeemer and the McLaren. Currently telling us that he's gone purple through sector 2 on the hard, so if that's the case, LDR is looking at a significant lap here on the hards. That's going to be quite a nice lap if he keeps his pace up here. Runs about turn 21 up to the final two turns, 22, 23. Very quick right-hander here, nearly invalidating his lap. Looks like he's kept it on track, but that's only a 141.5. So looks like a little bit of Cody's line to us there as he crossed the line in a P8 for the time being. Currently have 10 laps set here in the session. Looks like the Zoom is still out there on his medium. See if he's going to bring it in or if he's Yeah, it looks like he's just doing some practice laps so far here in the session. So still sitting P5 on the medium. So very well looking probably to put together a final lap very late in the session to stick it all together and hopefully keep him up there. Got nice trip now in the Ferrari coming into the pits, slowing down. This is a very tricky pit straight here. Singapore, you're coming uphill there on the left right before turn 22, and you see the pit limit, how should I call it, the pit limiter there on your left, but you don't actually have to slow down to what I believe is 80 kilometers per hour until about another 20 meters. So it's very tricky, easy to get your time off, as we now see Vexing Track go P1. That is pole position, folks. That's a 136.6 from Vexing Track on the softs. See if his teammate of Funky Cactus has anything to say about that, because the last thing he wants is Vexing Track to come home with another race above him in the points, as it is all up for grabs here at the end of the season. We'll take it on board here with PPR Ollies in the Williams, about to start his very next lap here on the soft compound tires. Still got 3 drivers left to start their laps. Looks like Ollie's actually abandoning here, getting out the way of what I believe is the Alfa Romeo of the Zoom, or either Father Corn. Father Corn about to start his outlap. Looks like that was a Father Corn there. But now, getting on board here with the Williams of PPR Ollies. It comes down into turn 1. Getting a lot of that curb right there. You want to do the same. Do 2 and 3. And very nicely done through the very first bits of track here from Ollies. Don't carry much speed as you can here through the DRS detection zone. Braking right there at the 50-meter board. A little bit of lockup there from Ollies. Nothing too harmful, as we see the Alfa Romeo now get out of his way. Does a very nice job of not pulling a Bottas from last season and putting it right in the barrier right there. So now pick it up to my favorite section of the track. That is the formerly known as the Singapore Sling, renovated back a few years ago, and now underneath the Anderson Bridge and underneath the hairpin. And coming up down this straight to what I always forget is either turn 13 or 14. Up here, for some reason, I always mix that up. But it looks like Ollie's has gone purple to sector 2. See if that stands for his lap time where he falls. But so far, so good here from Ollie's. He's had a very solid lap. Not too many mistakes. See if he can gain 9/10 here on Vexing Track, who's currently sitting on pole position. Ollie's getting very close to the wall there through the final 2 turns of 22 and 23, and across the line. It's going to be a 136.9 there from Ollie, still 0.3 off from Vexing Track there in the racing point in P1. So Ollie's with the improvement, but still not enough to get him further up the grid. We're now taking on board here with Father Corn. He's about to cross the line for his first lap of the night. That is not going to be a solo lap. This is a 143.7. Definitely looks like he made some sort of mistake there, because I know Father Corn definitely has more pace in that Alfa Romeo than what he just showed. But nonetheless, he's sitting currently 13th out of 14 drivers to set a lap here on track. Currently on board here with a Funky Cactus. Looking to get this lap set here on the medium set of tires. Right about here through sector 3. You'll see most of our drivers get very close to the wall right there. Bounce the curb off of the 22, and that is P2 for Funky Cactus. It has to be said, a second off there from his teammate at Vexing Track, but Funky on the mediums might call that the end of the day for him. He is sitting very well and on the prime tire for the night. Definitely, we want to start this race off on that. And it's definitely the medium. So Funky Cactus looking very promising here come race time, but I will not leave anything out here at Singapore, as I definitely saw that occur during our Xbox Division 2 race, where I saw anything is possible at this circuit. So, but nonetheless, Racing Point, as they've done most of the season, as 1-2 right now, looking like they're going to lock up the front row of the grid once again for what has seemed to be almost every single week now after the departure of Deluxe Sport, as he got promoted up to Xbox Division 2, and he has been doing a solid job on board Orange Crush. Looks like he just invalidated that lap, so unfortunate there for Orange Crush. We'll now take it on board to Funky Cactus, teammate of Vexing Track, who's doing yet again another lap here on the softs, trying to improve his time. See what he can do. Looks like Vexing Track is still off from his time, as his teammate of Funky Cactus just set another flying lap there on the mediums. Instead of coming back in the pits, he was opting to do another flying lap. He set a 136.3. You gotta assume he's gonna come back in the pits, maybe call that his qualifying session. See if Vexing Track can beat that out here. Doesn't look like he will. He sees that he is not going to be his time. He's going to bring back the pits, presumably put on another set of tires. But his teammate is looking very lethal here tonight. Now taking on board with the real Stalis. He just come back in the pits. He's done 3 laps there on the mediums, presumably just going for a one-shot. A little bit of a quality attempt here. Probably going to presumably put it on the softs. Got the Mercedes, or I'm sorry, the Mercedes of Sprightly. Let's see, he just crossed the line, still up on his time, and doesn't look like he's going to be able to improve on that time. Unless he can do so right now, because he will not be able to bring it back into the pits. We have only 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in qualifying, so if our drivers aren't heading out right now, they will not have enough time to set another lap here in quali. But Sprightly definitely looks like he's pushing right here. He's nearly half a second up already through Sector 1, so he is going full strides here in that Mercedes. So we'll stick it on board with him and see what he can do as he nears up to the what was almost iconic, formerly known as Singapore Sling, that would just throw drivers into that barrier. That's formerly been removed. Now around the hairpin. And Sprightly looking pretty decent here on his lap. Looks like Funky Cactus has retired from the session. Happy with his current set pole position time. See if he can stick that, because his teammate of Vexing Track and even PPR Ollies, if he can really smash out a lap, are looking to take that away from him. Oh, that is terrible for Sprightly. Making a little bit of contact with the wall, losing a bit of his front wing there on the right side. Looks like his end plate is gone. It looks like both of them. He's losing even more front wing. This is not the lap that Sprightly wants. Looks like he might still improve on it. Oh, nope, he's going to invalidate. And that is it for Sprightly. Unfortunate for him. You see how much wing damage he's looking at right there. Not what you want. We got Big Mr. Brown now starting his lap. Taking on board here with the Zoom, who is about to cross the line. See where he can promote himself. P2 for the Zoom there now from Mayo. Very well done. Looks like Ollie's about to start his lap. Night Shrimp as well there in the Ferrari. Got the Mercedes of, I believe, Bestaillon about to cross the line as he is very far back on his time. Not going to improve, but LDR Redeemer there does in the McLaren. Very well done by him. Also have the Renault of the coach crossing the line. So we will now take this up here to Big Mr. Brown as we see what the rest of our drivers can do here on their very last laps. This is crunch time. We're currently on board with McLaren of Big Mr. Brown, who has showed a significant increase in pace throughout the season. I got to applaud him as he joined us last season, and he's really shown that he has put some time in this game because week by week he's just getting faster, and it's great to see that. Great to see that from all of our guys as well, but specifically here, Big Mr. Brown is now finally coming through Sector 3 here. And unfortunately for Big Mr. Brown, looks like he just invalidated his lap. So that lap will not count. Sprightly is now bringing it into the pits. Oh, and PPR Ollies has lost it. That's going to be his lap over. We'll now take it on board here with Night Shrimp. See what he can cross the line at. Definitely doesn't look like to be able to improve, as he does, but only by 0.3, and that's still P8 there from Night Shrimp. But here comes race point of Vexing Track, and still unable to improve from his time. Father Corn bringing it into the pits there. Taeon as well. So it looks like we got Redeemer. Redeemer is invalidated, so that only really leaves us now with the Zoom, who is definitely going very slow on this lap because he's solidified the front row of the grid here. He's going to cross the line. I'm not too sure why. I could have just brought it in the pits there, but nonetheless, cross the line. So there you have it. Funky Cactus, P1 front row of the grid, followed by the Zoom there, and the Alfa Romeo. His championship rival is Vexing Track. That is the two Racing Point teammates. They're going to be sitting there in third place. So that is 1, 2, and 3 here at Singapore. And this is going to be quite the cracker of a race. I am very excited, and I hope all of you guys are as well who just tuned in. So look at the grid here. Got a mix of medium and soft tires. I'm looking at Big Mr. Brown there in 10th place on the hards. Interesting choice there. Looking to go long in the race, I'm presuming. So there you have it. Funky Cactus, the Zoom, Vexing Track there, 1, 2, 3, followed by Ollie's, Redeemer, Groggy, Oregano, I'm sorry, and 5th and 6th, followed by Bestaillon and 7th, Night Shrimp, the coach, and Big Mr. Brown, all rounding out the top 10. You can definitely see the varying amount in pace here that was in qualifying, and definitely the likes of what we would expect from an Xbox Division 4 division. This is more just for fun for these drivers at some points in the season, but what's not up for fun is the championship battle between the two teammates, Vexing Track and Funky Cactus. I'll be talking about that a lot tonight because that Racing Point team has been battling out very hard throughout the entirety of the season. Through the first, probably, I believe it was the first 11 races, they were battling up with the likes of Deluxe Squad, who they just could not compete with. And after Deluxe's promotion, they've now found themselves a little bit of a team dilemma here because there are no more team orders. It is all up for grabs. It is not just about the constructors' points and a first place finish and a constructors world championship. It is now up to them to bring it home for themselves and say, look at me, I did it, mama, this is mine. So here we are on the formation lap, and we'll take a quick 30-second break here as our guys warm up their tires, and I'll be right back before the start of the race. Once again, thank you guys all for joining in here at PPR Esports. I am PPR Nick, and I'll be back in 30 seconds. Alright, and we are back. And while we wait for the rest of our drivers to finish up here on the formation lap, go down the constructor standings real quick. We have Racing Point up in first place ahead of McLaren by 137 points. McLaren sitting there in second, followed by Williams in P3. And then we have Red Bull sitting there in, looks like these standings are a little bit, oh, yep, that is Red Bull in fourth. And then we have Alfa Romeo in fifth, Haas in sixth, followed by Toro Rosso, Mercedes, Renault, and Ferrari, all leading out the final few spots here. As Ferrari has only 1 point, so hopefully our guys can bring something home. Night Shrimp, we are counting on you. But here we go for the start of the race. Oh, good. Nice little camera angle. 3, 4, 5 lights. And away we go here for Xbox Division 4. Looks like everyone's got out to a decent start. Funky Cactus looks like he's going to lead it out here. His teammate still in third. Oh, we got a Williams and a Haas in the back going around there through turn number 1. Got Bestione here in the Mercedes, promoting himself up in the P5. Got Night Shrimp right behind him, looking to make a move. Looks like that was PPR, Ollies, and Groggy or Oregano who got into that instant there at turn 1. Unfortunate for those guys, they're going to fall all the way to the back of the grid. Oh, and it looks like Night Shrimp has now made contact with Teon, and we have a VSC as the coach. Oh, I'm sorry, the coach has entered the session out of nowhere. Oh, no, he has retired. Interestingly enough, I don't remember seeing him there in qualifying, but he is retired from the session. We're now under VSC conditions. A brief pause in action, but what a start there to the race. Turn 1 was almost clean, but it looks like Ollies and Groggy made a little bit of contact there through turn number 1. Looks like Groggy just tapped the inside of Ollies and spun him, and they both went around. So unfortunate for those guys there. Maybe something for the stewards to look at post-race, but couldn't really catch all of that on stream. He's got all those cars flying there to turn 1, but we are back to racing. And now to Zoom chasing after Funky Cactus. Vexing Track has fallen back to P4. The Zoom looking to be all on Funky Cactus's tail, because maybe he's looking to put himself into P1 here, the leader of the race. But nonetheless, you got Vexing Track as well, trying to get around LDR Redeemer here as we come across the line to complete lap number 1. It looks like Night Shrimp has come to the pits very slowly, probably dealing with some wing damage there. Big Mr. Brown now getting overtaken by Sprightly. Sprightly all in the back here of Father Corn. Sprightly looking really optimistic here, trying to overtake one of his buddies. And he's not going to get it done yet, but he's building up here. Father Corn on the hard, Sprightly on the mediums. Definitely has an opportunity to make a move. Father Corn defending very hard on the inside. Sprightly's going to take the outside here. And doesn't look like there's anything Corn can do. He just concedes the place. And then now Sprightly up into P7. As his teammate of Bestion is sitting there in a 5th. So Mercedes having a decent showing so far here in the race. He'll take it up to his teammate there in 5th. Just looking at the back of Vexing Track currently. He was sitting in 4th place. Both still sitting on the soft compound tires, so pace should be similar. And unfortunately for the coach, he has left the session. He was also having some troubles there in Xbox Division 2 on Tuesday, and unfortunately just doesn't look like his luck is here at Singapore. Maybe it all ran out this week, but hopefully we'll see him back as strong as ever next week. We now see DRS is enabled. Zoom has now set the fast lap of the race there with a 1:42.4. We have another yellow flag. Looks like we have a Toro Rosso off. That is Hulk Smash. See if we can pick him up here from Night Shrimp, where his car disappeared. See what went wrong. Looks like, oh, I can already understand what just went wrong. He got it wrong at the bridge. Car just disappeared, can't pick him up. But yeah, it looks like he just went in too deep there at the bridge. Must be said that Hulk Smash is currently on his controller, as his wheel has not come in the mail yet. A little bit of insider info there, so Hulk Smash probably just struggled a little bit there on the controller tonight. Nonetheless, glad to see that he was here in the race, and unfortunately it ended very early for him at lap 3. But back to racing. That's already 2 VSCs. Luckily, they were very quick to go away. And we are now looking at Vecting Track on the back of LDR Redeemer. Oh, Redeemer going very deep, and that's in the wall. That's got to be front wing damage. That is definitely front wing damage. He's very lucky not to have DNF right there, but that's going to be LDR Redeemer's race flipped upside down. As you can see, yeah, that left side of the wing is completely destroyed. He's going to have to bring that into the pits. And I'll take it on down here to Fontes, who's staring down the battle here. Taylor trying to get around Redeemer. Redeemer's not conceding any places. He's trying to just make it back into the pits now, which is really slowing down the likes of Teon and Fontes. Even Sprightly, who is right behind this group as well, might get caught up and lose a little bit of time here. And there you see it. Redeemer now hopping into the pits. Fontes is going to have DRS right here. See it engaged. Teon's also getting his engaged because of Redeemer. Fontes going to throw down the inside. Room left to spare. And it looks like Fontes is going to get that move done here. Teon still on the inside. He's going to slot back behind Fontes. And that is P5. But Mercedes still sitting very well, 5th and 6th respectively. So far, you see Sprightly there too, right in the background. Maybe quite possibly trying to look at overtaking his teammate as well and picking up a position. We'll put up the tire data so far for you guys here in the race. Oh, Sprightly's gone very wide. Out the hairpin, out braking himself into the wall. Now lost his front wing. Looks like he's just going to come out there. P9. That's very unfortunate for him. Mercedes were having such a great start of the race, and Sprightly just one off, and you see how much that could cost you here at Singapore. Not so much at Monaco, as you know, Monaco is street circuit, legendary street circuit, where the walls are just, looks like it's almost trapping you in on track. Singapore a little bit more open, but nonetheless, you get a little bit off there, and you're going to find yourself in the wall, as we now have the zoom coming into the pits. Presumably he's have to have some wing damage. See what goes on here at the Alfa Romeo pit stop. And no, that is no front wing for the zoom. He's come in for the mediums. I cannot explain that stop whatsoever, unless he did have wing damage and Cody's elected not to replace his front wing. But yeah, the zoom is now taking himself out of podium positions, and Funky Cactus is sitting very well there in first place. And we now have Big Mr. Brown diving down the inside of Father Corn. Putting himself in the 5th. Oh, Big Mr. Brown nearly putting it into the wall. After Father Corn goes very deep, Big Mr. Brown picking up the scraps, now finds himself in the 5th place, as his teammate of LDR Redeemer is currently making a pass here on PPR Ollies. Redeemer now finds himself in 11th, still outside of the points, but nonetheless, he's picking up his places on track. A lot of the gaps are starting to span out very quickly, as this is probably one of the very few tracks I've seen so far this year where the pace between all of these drivers is very different. But at the same time, Singapore is not an easy track. Oh, and it looks like we have a Red Bull off. That may be Orange Crush. It is. You see Orange Crush's front wing is completely gone. He's got the zoom right behind him. See if Orange Crush doesn't just get out the way here. Vector Track picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And that's definitely going to hurt him at the end of the race. Yeah, looks like Orange Crush. Oh, almost looks like he wasn't going to concede the position as he had no front wing, so no right to really fight it. He's going to have to come to the pits. And that's now Zoom up into 9th place after making a stop very early for almost unspeakable reasons. Maybe he's going for a 2-stop tonight. They now have Vexing Track coming back out on the circuit. And it looks like that's going to be P8 for Vexing, as his teammate Funky is sitting 10 seconds abreast from Afonso there in 2nd place. So Funky Cactus just really chilling up there in P1 so far. We'll take it down to Ollie's now. Ollie's fighting for a point here. We have Best in 10th place there in the Mercedes. Got Mercedes on Mercedes power. Equal cars, of course, here on our grids. Oh, Taeyeon almost trying to slap himself down the inside. I realize Ollie's is right there. Ollie's now going to go very aggressive. Oh, what a squeeze by Taeyeon. I mean, all fair play and game there, but what a squeeze. He is playing it very defensively, and Ollie's is going to have to back up just a little bit here and rethink his strategy, because this 1 point is almost like these guys are fighting over a driver's championship at the last race of Abu Dhabi. It looks like Ollie's is falling a little bit back now from town, maybe looking to bridge back this gap maybe later on in the lap. We now see the Zoom set the fastest lap of the race with a 1 of 40.4. The Zoom currently sitting in 7th place there in the Alfa Romeo. It looks like Ollie's now is falling a little bit back here from the Mercedes of Taeyeon, who's sitting in P10. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our stops of the day. So everyone from P1 down to P6 yet to stop. Everyone from 7th down to 15th, as we can see, have already made 1 stop here in the race. We'll see how that shakes up the grid here. Positions made up. Gotta look at Fontas here. 10 places up there in the Toro Rosso. Started P12 after qualifying and has really made his way up throughout the grid. Big Mr. Brown as well, Father Corn, and I will just say V Stripes. He'll let me know later on in the night how to actually pronounce the name, but there you go. He's up 11 as well, so everyone in the top 5 besides Funky Cactus making big strides early on in the race. Looks like we have a Haas who just went maybe a little too deep there. Definitely looks like it did. He's got some front wing damage. That's unfortunate for the real Stallis, as he's probably now going to have to make his 2nd stop of the evening. We'll now take this on board here with the Zoom, who's catching up very quickly here to Groggy. We're going to go around the outside of Groggy. Groggy playing a little bit. Oh, what has Groggy done? He's made contact with the Zoom. The Zoom's now lost his wing. Groggy had already lost a place, didn't have a right there on the racing line. And that's now going to promote Vexing Track up to P6. The Zoom has to be just furious there inside of his Alfa Romeo, because he had the overtake done and Groggy just slight bit of contact there to his rear left and off, or his rear right I should say, and both of them off. And Zoom's now looking at front wing damage, and Zoom is going to have to pit again. Even though it looks like that might just be his right end plate, he might still be able to go on here in the session, but it's not going to be very comfortable, as anyone who's played F1 2019 knows that tracks like Singapore with a lot of turns, even a slight bit of wing damage, it is just not ideal at all. That is unfortunate for those guys. Now taking on board here with Father Corn and Alfa Romeo, who's looking to hawk down Big Mr. Brown and McLaren here for the final podium spot. That is P3. Yeah, they're both in the hard, so they're both going very long here on their first stint of the night, and both fighting for some major points here in the race. Father Corn looking a little bit on the inside there, definitely no room to make it. He still have to keep himself behind Big Mr. Brown and try to break out pretty massive gap. He wants to look at making an overtake here. You see Groggy now pitting. He's going to fall back to what presumably is going to be P13 now for the Haas team. Groggy at one point in the season was looking at a constructor's title, but after the loss of his teammate of Deluxe Board has really found himself on the back foot in every aspect here in Xbox Division 4, but he is truly a fighter, and he's going to keep going no matter where he is on track, no matter where he is in standings, and he got to admire that, so he's going to keep fighting here tonight as he's sitting back now in 14th place. It looks like Father Corn is falling back just a little bit here, so now taking on board here with LDR Redeemer, who's been having a little bit of a tussle now with our Xbox Division 1 commentator of best. He just has not been able to make this overtake. Looks like Redeemer's losing a little bit of his, lost a little bit of his end plate there, so that's going to be even more of the challenge as he now has PPR Ollies here in P10. Looking to scrap up with both of these guys as Hulk Smash now has left the session. R.I.P. to Hulk. Hopefully next week he will have his will and won't have as many troubles as he did this week at Singapore. Singapore is a very tough track to get right on the pad. Ooh, as it looks like Ollie's now is getting an overtake on Redeemer. That is very interesting. It looks like Redeemer just let him by. Maybe Redeemer understanding that he has wing damage, knows that he can't really fight Ollies, but he was still holding off a decent amount of a gap. So he probably actually cost himself more time by letting Ollies by instead of maybe fighting it out with him through a couple of turns and then letting him by that way. So interesting tactics there from Redeemer, but nonetheless, I mean, he's got wing damage, so it's not going to be ideal for him throughout the rest of his stint here until he makes another pit stop in the race. As you look at it now, Funky Cactus nearly up 18 seconds on Fontes as we have a yellow through sector 3. Oh, looks like we have a Haas who's gone off. Oh, looks like that's the real Stallis. He's turned himself back around. Doesn't look like he make contact with anyone else on the grid. Looks like he just lost that back in there through turns 22 and 23, the final two turns here on circuit, and went sideways. And he's now finding himself in P15. Haas just not having a very great afternoon. As you now see Redeemer now hopping into the pits. And it's very sad there for the Haas team and also for Redeemer there in the McLaren. But you know what's not sad? That is big Mr. Brown sitting in P3. He's got the likes of Father Corn and V-Stripes right behind him. And it might be V-Straps. V-Strippins. No idea. This is called the Red Bull of V. And he's also got Vexing Track as well right behind him. Nice little midfield battle here, building up about a third of the way here through the race. They all make their way past Anderson Bridge, down the straight into turn 13 and 14, as I always forget which turn it is. Let's see, Orange Crush there now picking up a 3-second time penalty. Oh! And V really getting close to the wall right there. Looks like he did lose his end plate. That is not looking good for him. He's got Vexing Track now all on the back of him. And with that wing damage, Vexing is definitely going to get him overtaken right here. DRS enabled. And gets that move done very easily right before turn 1. As Funky Cactus now has made himself into the pits, putting on the hards, looking to go till the end of the race. See where Funky ends up coming out on track. Looks like he's coming out P3 here on the hard, so sitting very well. He's in between this midfield battle that we've been keeping track of between Father Corn, Vexing Track, V Strides, Big Mr. Brown. Still have Fontas left the pit. The Zoom, Sprightly now coming into the pits as well. So a lot shaking up here as we're now about a third into the race. Oh, and this is going to shake up to be quite the battle here. You got Vexing now in 5th. Funky Cactus here in 3rd on Big Mr. Brown. Quite the train growing, quite the midfield battle. A lot of varying strategies all going on between these guys. Big Mr. Brown, who is yet to pit here in the session, trying to hold off everyone who has just come out of the pits, or as yet to pit, I should also say. As Funky's looking to take back his commanding lead of this race, but he's got to be careful, because just one slight mistake here could cost him his entire race that he's really been dominating from start to finish so far. You see everyone making their ways through the final 2 turns. And now take it back up here to Funky. He's diving down the inside of Big Mr. Brown, and very easily done. Funky now back into 1st place very easily. He's going to be looking to take that lead up even further now, as everyone behind him in 2nd, 3rd have yet to pit in the entire race. Father Corn, Big Mr. Brown, and then he also have his teammate Vexing Track, who's already pitted once, but is 7 laps in on some mediums. So Funky Cactus, if he doesn't see a safety car come out tonight, he is definitely going to be running away with this unless he makes a mistake of his own. But on board right now with his teammate of Vexing Track, he's trying to find himself on the podium positions. Looking at Father Corn and Big Mr. Brown right in front of him as they come through the Anderson Bridge. As you now see LDR Deemer picking up a 3-second time penalty. Now coming up to turn 14, Vexing took a little bit of look there on the inside, nothing doing for him. As Father Corn is going to remain in P3 for the time being. Come through turn 15 and 16. But Father Corn's got to be very wary, because he's got Vexing Track right behind him and definitely pushing as much as he can. And you can see it there. He's got a 3-second time penalty. Feeling a little bit too much of the corners there. He also got Big Mr. Brown, who's got to worry about these guys behind him. Oh, and it looks like Father Corn went a little bit too wide there, a little bit off the track. And that's going to Vexing Track the edge here through turn 1. And Father Corn's got to back out there. And Vexing Track now looking to get up into P2 here on Big Mr. Brown. He's trying to pick him as much points as he can because his teammate is currently flying away with it. So Vexing Track just trying to take care of some collateral damage here towards his championship standings, as he'll still be sitting in P1. He looks at the inside here. Big Mr. Brown, nothing doing there, but if Vexing Track can finish here in P2, he'll still only be, or I believe, Quick Mass 32 points up in the championship, so not too much doing towards his end goal of being the driver championship Drivers Champion, I should say, here in Division 4. But to make that gap possible, he's got to get through Big Mr. Brown. Ooh, Big Mr. Brown leaving the door open. Vexing biting on it and actually losing out some time. I wonder if Big Mr. Brown actually has the IQ to understand that that was actually maybe a decent move there. But nonetheless, he's still got Vexing Track here all on the back of his gearbox. Big Mr. Brown cannot make a mistake because Vexing will bite on it at the opportunity. Father Corn as well, still right behind these guys as well in the Alfa Romeo. So can't count him out. But Vexing is looking right. He's looking very strong here. As Vexing might be able to get this done here. He's going to have DRS enabled. And this might be his chance to get back at Big Mr. Brown. Now coming out of turn 5. Do this little bend in 6 and now into 7. And it looks like Vexing's going to get it even after he let off a little bit there on the throttle. And Big Mr. Brown is conceding the place. Vexing has finally got it done. Father Corn still sits in the background here in P4. And now Night Shrimp in the Ferrari pitting. And he's getting himself outside the points. Unfortunately, Ferrari, as we said earlier in the stream, only has 1 point so far on the books in this season. So it's not been a great year for Ferrari. But that has been a great year for the Racing Point drivers as well as a few other teams. Looks like Orange Crush and LDR Redeemer here fighting it out just a little bit. Looks like Redeemer's going to beat him out there at turn 7. Oh, and no. Orange Crush has gone sideways, turning it back around. Oh, and that is going to be devastating. Christian Horner is definitely back there in the pit box, spewing a little bit of curse words. He's now seen his driver drop himself outside of the points and definitely have to come back in to the pits. That's Father Corn now talking about pits. Brought himself in the pits. Going back on top here to Fontas, who's on the hards, chasing down. Oh, and we have a safety car. Sprightly has gone off. I think we might be able to pick him up here from Funky Cactus. See what went wrong here with Sprightly. I believe that might be the... Oh, he pulled a Botas. Oh, Vexing Track has a drive-through penalty, and Sprightly has gone off where Botas went off. Maybe we'll pick him up once more. Hopefully we don't get a barrier glitch. But Vexing Track with a drive-through, that's going to have major implications here when it comes to the championship standings, because Vexing was sitting P2. I mean, if you can't beat him, finish right behind him. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the case at all. Funky, though, see what he opts to do here. Is he going to come in the pits? See the likes. Groggy's already coming in the pits. So he's getting ahead of the jump as well as Orange Crush. Orange Crush already needed a new front wing. So this is really helping him out as well. We just saw him spin off there at turn 7 earlier in the lap. So a safety car halfway through, kind of getting a reset now in the race. It's almost like we got halfway through and it's like, you know what? Reset the race, and thank you, Sprightly. So that's going to bunch the grid all the way back up. Presumably we'll probably start back up around lap 19 or 20 as V-Stripes has retired. He's retired under safety car. That is very odd. Did he retire to the same spot as Sprightly? He did. He went off under safety car. Oh, that is, I need to get some F's in the chat there because that, now see his car has now finally disappeared. Yeah, that's a big F there in the chat. Oh, and Funky Cactus has not come in the pits. He is staying out. He's now behind the safety car, so he will not be able to advance any further on track. He's going to stay out here on the hards. That is an interesting strategy there by Funky. We'll see if it pays off. He definitely has the pace. I can't deny that, but he could have just put on the mediums and gone until the end. As we see Big Mr. Brown vexing Bession, PPR, Ollies, Fontas, all in the pits here, all coming out. Big Mr. Brown, P2. Big Mr. Brown might find himself on the podium by the end of this race. But we'll have to see how it plays out here. See the rest of the grid now. Going to slowly pick themselves up here to Funky, who's sitting right behind the safety car. And Fontas and sitting in the pits. Looks like he's putting on the softs. Yeah, he came out on the softs. Those are definitely, that's going to be a stretch to make it to the end there on the softs, but he's going all out here. Definitely be able to make some quick overtakes, hopefully, on the first few laps, but those are going to die off definitely towards the end. So currently in the race, currently 17 laps in out of 31. Funky Cactus has really been showing just some tremendous pace here at Singapore. Got Big Mr. Brown sitting in P2, Vexen Track in third, and you got the Alfa Romeo pair, Father Corn and the Zoom here in the fourth and fifth. Bestion there in sixth, followed by Ollie's, Redeemer, Fontas, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then Night Shrimp and the Ferrari rounding out the final spot there in 10th for the final points positions. And right outside of those points positions, you got Groggy, Orange Crush, and the Real Stalis, a guy who was definitely going to need the safety car. Is definitely the Real Stalis. Not quite his race, and I can really feel for him. I had the same in our Xbox Division 1 race. Just wasn't my race here at Singapore, and the Real Stalis kind of having that same race, but safety car, pick it back up and try to pick up the pieces as much as you can. As there you go, you see the Real Stalis unlapping himself there. And so have to catch back up to the safety car Q. So I am presuming race will start back probably lap number 20. But while we just, as the Real Stalis has been disqualified for ignoring yellow flags. Looks like he was just trying to unlap himself, unless he hadn't got the unlap and he overtook the safety car on his own. That might have what caused him to get disqualified, but it looks like he's still going strong. Let's do some investigating here as we will look at our telemetry. Yeah, looks like Real Stalis is still going strong here. That might just be a little bit of glitch here in Cody's. We'll see. Doesn't say he's got disqualified yet, so I'm still guessing he's still in this session. As we've definitely seen that before here on the ticker, where we'll say someone's disqualified and they're actually not. It's just something going on there with Cody's. But yeah, it looks like Real Stalis is still in it. So he's trying to pick himself up back to the safety car queue. And we'll wait for everyone else to pick themselves up as well. And while they do that, I'm going to take another quick just 30-second break, and I'll be right back with you guys. Once again, thank you all for tuning in tonight on this very quarantined Friday night here. And we greatly appreciate it here at PPR. We love all the support, all the views, as much as we can get. And I will be right back with you guys. This is PPR Nick here at PPR Esports. All right, and we are back here, still under safety car conditions. This is our first official safety car of the night. We've had two VSCs very early in the race. This is the only safety car we've actually seen come out. Just waiting on the real Stallus to catch up to the rest of the grid. And really guess he's not going to do that this lap. So yeah, like I said earlier, yeah, lap number 20 is what we're going to see here. For the restart of the race, kind of 11 laps to go. And it's got to be said here, Funky Cactus not sitting in a optimal position. He's shown that he has a pace over the rest of the grid, but he is now sitting 7 laps in on some hard compound tires, while he's got Big Mr. Brown, Vexing Track, Father Corn as well, all on the mediums. The quicker set of tire, and it's probably going to be quicker. It's going to be quicker than Funky Cactus the rest of the race. He's going to have to defend. He's going to have to battle with these guys, and he might not be able to break out into a just enormous lead that we saw early in the race. He was up almost 17 seconds from Fontas earlier in the race. Fontas sitting out P9. Oh, and look at that safety car in this lap. The real Stall is definitely losing out here, unless he can catch up to the rest of these guys very, very quickly. But this is what makes or breaks you in a championship battle. Funky Cactus opting not to come to the pits for mediums. Hopefully, you know, if he makes the podium, we'll be able to speak to him about that and why he did it. And maybe it pays off. We'll have to wait and see. That's the great thing about racing. That's the great thing about esports and everything here on F1 2019. As Funky's going to get to lead our grid here. See if he tries to slow him down at all, or if he just shoots right off. As Nitrim's got a 5-second time penalty. And it looks like Funky is just going to set it all off here. Not trying to offset anyone in the grid. So we are back off the racing. Big Mr. Brown right behind him. Doesn't look like Big Mr. Brown's going to get any places here. Father Corn now right on the back of Vexing Track. They come through 3. He's got the zoom right there behind him. We got Fontas off there out of turn 1. Unsure what went wrong with him, but he is off track. He's falling all the way back down now to P12. We take it back up to the rest of our grid here. Got Big Mr. Brown now, still trying to fight here with Funky Cactus. Right on the gearbox, and he is in a racing point sandwich. You have to watch out for Vexing Track, really trying to get over on him. Got PPR Ollies now getting overtaken by, oh, looks like something's actually gone wrong here with PPR Ollies. He has gone, oh, he is completely backwards on track. Got himself back up the footing. You have to watch out, he's definitely overheated those tires. That's Ollies now down into P12. We're now past Anderson Bridge, making our way down now into turn 14. And Funky Cactus doing a great job maintaining that lead, as he can only hope to do is come through 15, 16, now 17, 18 underneath the next bridge. But the one thing Big Mr. Brown's going to have to watch out for here is Vexing Track right behind him. Vexing Track really on a charge. And Big Mr. Brown really losing out here from Funky. And Vexing knows he doesn't have the pace on his teammate tonight, but he's got the tires on him. So if he can get around Big Mr. Brown and really build up and put himself in position to overtake his teammate, he might find himself sitting on the front steps of the podium. But he's got to get around Big Mr. Brown here, and he's falling off. As Alfa Romeo pair is still sitting pretty comfortably, as they have the likes of the Mercedes of Besttown right behind them. As he got the barrier sitting just a little bit out, that's very dangerous. As I believe I saw Fontas in the chat, our Discord, complaining about that after, I believe it was Sprightly that went off right there, pulled his own little bow toss, and ironically in a Mercedes as well, and he was complaining that that barrier is what caught him out and put him all the way back in 11th place after he had to make an additional pit stop. So unfortunately it looks like that caught him out in the race, and thank you Cody's. Hopefully, you know, pray 2020 that'll be a little bit of a fix. Doesn't look like Tam's gonna get around the zoom quite yet. Taking aboard here with Vexing Track, who is still right on the gearbox now with Big Mr. Brown. As we're sitting now and about to cross 9 laps left in the race. Big Mr. Brown now has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Haven't seen too many time penalties flying around tonight, and Vexing Track serving his stop and go penalty that he received underneath safety car. As I just remembered that he had that penalty, so he is now finding himself all the way back, and that is unfortunate for him. Maybe we can get some comments on that post-race, but he's now P11 in the pits. So Big Mr. Brown, could he quite possibly find himself with a race victory tonight? I would love to see it. I'm a big fan of Big Mr. Brown. I know I'm not supposed to say who I have biases towards. I don't have biases towards any of our drivers. I love PPR in general, but Big Mr. Brown, I'm just really impressed with how much he's picked up on his pace. And if he can hawk down a guy like Funky Cactus tonight, I mean, big props to him. And that is what he's trying to do here late in the race. Now the yellow to sector 2, looks like that is Father Corn. Father Corn looks like he's gone off. See if we can pick him up real quick. I got a little bit of wing damage there. Couldn't really pick up what exactly went wrong there. Take it back up to the battle for first place. The Big Mr. Brown really not trying to fight too much here with Funky yet. But he's also going to be aware that his tires are much fresher, much more pacier than Funky. So he's going to have to push as much as he can to get across. Because by probably the final couple laps here in the race, he's not going to be able to have as much pace advantage as he does right now over Funky. And maybe this is all that he has. I mean, Funky has shown that he has the overall pace over the entire grid tonight. And maybe this is all that Big Mr. Brown has to show. And nonetheless, he's still sitting P2. The Zoom is sitting 5.5 seconds back. So Big Mr. Brown sitting there very comfortable. But the Zoom, speaking of the Zoom, he's got the Mercedes of Best right behind him. Oh, Best's going to go down the inside, not the outside. He's going down the inside. Oh, make a little bit of contact there. He's going to have to slow down now for the Zoom. The Zoom showing no respect at all on the racing track. He is fighting for this podium position. Doesn't look like Best has any wing damage, but he's definitely lost at least half a second now on that Alfa Romeo as he fights and claws for a podium. PPR always has got fast lap of the race, but doesn't really matter. He's sitting P13, so that point will not count. Now take down to the midfield. We got Groggy here on LDR Redeemer and Orange Crush right behind him in the Red Bull. Groggy still trying to see if he can get around LDR here. Looks like Redeemer is struggling just a little bit. Funky Cactus picked up a 3-second time penalty. Not too much of a factor. Big Mr. Brown also has a 3-second as well, so those really just going to overlap each other by the end of the race unless they pick up an additional time penalty. Groggy going to have DRS here, so he's going to be able to make a move through turn 1. LDR sitting on the middle of the track. Groggy going down the inside. Oh, definitely taking off track. LDR is going to get him back down the inside here through 3. And Groggy is going to lose out here to Orange Crush. Orange Crush sitting in 7th place. So Groggy trying to get a position made up actually ends up losing the place. And that's now got Orange Crush here looking at the likes of LER Redeemer and Groggy really out of shape. LER defending in the middle of the track. Orange not really too much space to make a move. He's trying to fight for best of the rest position. That is P6. As Father Corn now has retired. Looks like he's retired in the pits. Called it a day. Oh, unfortunately, looks like his AI is going to leave out of the pits, and that's what you hate to see. Did everything right that he could. And actually looks like this car's going to stay inside the pit, so thank you, Cody's. We don't want to have a ghost on the track like we saw in Division 1. That was very annoying. Looks like Orange Crush is falling off just a little bit here. As Groggy now is trying to fight back and pick up 7th place. Got to be very careful here. Taking a lot of the curb there on the inside underneath the bridge. Through the penultimate turns, I'm sorry. And there goes Groggy now down the inside over Orange Crush through turn 1. And Orange Crush has conceded the place. And that is now Groggy there up in the P7. Oh, Orange Crush nearly losing the back end there. Gonna lose a lot of time. Now take it up here to Taeyon, who's fighting off with Nice Shrimp. Taeyon around the outside. Can't pick it up on the zoom. I believe I said Nice Shrimp. Apologies for that. That's Alpha Mayo of the zoom here. Trying to pick up the final podium spot. Now he's looking, and he is desperate for it. I can tell you that. He is trying. Oh, Groggy! Groggy's DNF from a session. Oh, we just picked him up. Oh, no. Looks like he did the same as Sprightly early in the session. Fortunately, we only have a VSC. Not going to be a reset of the grid, but he did. He just pulled the Botas. If everyone knows what Valtteri did last year at Singapore, you understand what I'm saying, that he pulled the Botas, and he most certainly did. Unfortunately, Sprightly did the same, ironically, also in the Mercedes. And now you see Groggy do the same as well. And look at that, the real stylist is going to look at a point here on track as long as he doesn't make another mistake. But Best is definitely clawing at the bit here like a Tiger King, because he wants that final podium spot. We are now on lap 26 of 31. As Funky Cactus crosses the line. He's really built up a gap here on Big Mr. Brown, so doesn't look like him staying out really affected his position on track whatsoever. Ollie's, has gotten a drive-through penalty, and it's not really going to affect him too much. He's still outside the points. VSC has ended. DRS is enabled, and we're back on the fight for P3, as we have just 5 laps now remaining. And it is all between the Zoom and Best. And if anyone on the admin team knows, this is James Trotter here, and the Mercedes. We all love him. Does a great job for commentary in Division 1. And he's now trying to find himself on the podium, and looks like he will. Oh, the Zoom cut him off. He's going to try to go around the outside. This is very dangerous. Barrier is very close. They made a little bit of contact. Might have been a little bit of lag contact there. It looks like it was. No wing damage done to both of them. The Zoom getting a great run here now on Best. He's going to keep the position. Vexing Track has retired. Oh, Vexing Track has done the same thing. We've seen 3 drivers retire at the same turn. We're back underneath a VSC. See, Fontas is going to pick him up here. I'm just really perplexed here. Oh, look at, Vexing Track got caught out. Oh, the barrier is actually glitching out. I believe that might be a barrier glitch, and I really got a feel here for Vexing Track. As, the barrier is sticking out massively here on track. It's almost like Canada at the Wall of Champions. If someone hits that during a race, the Wall of Champions will slide out just a little bit, and you got to be really careful. I hope the rest of our grid knows that's what's going on right now, because I would hate to see anyone else DNF from that. But that is Vexing Track now outside of the points. Funky Cactus could cut his lead more than in half. Funky, who's currently down 40 points in the championship, can now be down only 15 going into next week if he can keep this race lead and stay away from that barrier that's just sticking out right there at what I believe is turn number 7. As Orange Crush now is coming into the pits, he's currently sitting 7th place. He'll come out in P8 after his pit stop. But all we care about right now is the battle for the final podium spot. We're on lap 27 to 31. It is between the Zoom and between Best here in the Mercedes. You can really see that barrier just sticking out. And unfortunately, that is just how Cody's barriers work here in this game. And you hate to see it, but that is what they have to deal with for the next few laps. The Zoom still all over the gearbox of Teon. They come through 13 there, the hairpin. And he's got a horrible exit here. He's not going to be able to make a run up to him through turn 14. Slipstream still all in effect though, so still right on the gearbox, but nothing doing yet here for the Alfa Romeo driver. He's going to have DRS right here. That might be able to assist him here in an overtake through turn 1. Down defending the middle of the track. The Zoom going to slide it down the inside. Oh, he's got position. Oh, but Teon's still going to beat him out there. Looks like Bett's still going to get it. The Zoom just throwing his car everywhere on track to try to make an overtake. He's going to have DRS once again here. Oh, Teon got a horrible exit. This might be it here for P3. The Zoom might be able to get him. He's got him here. And the Mercedes and Teon's going to send it down the inside, nearly making contact with each other. The Zoom now down the inside as well. The barrier, oh, the barrier's sticking out. Teon's caught the barrier, and he's now hit the wall. That's a Zoom now in P3. Teon, unfortunately, has lost his entire front wing. What a great battle. Unfortunately, the barrier has caught him out, and he's lost the entirety of front wing. People like Nice Shrimp and LDR Redeemer as well are going to catch up. And Teon might be lucky enough that Fontas is too far back. He might still fall into P6, but that is so unfortunate for Teon. He was fighting a great battle, was in the podium spots, just lost out to the Zoom, but they look to have a battle to the end, and Teon's now retired on circuit, barely touched the barrier, and that is it for his race. You got to feel for him. Moment of silence for the Mercedes as he is just sitting there in the barrier. Now taking on board here with LDR Redeemer, who is looking to overtake Nice Shrimp for P4. We have not seen a safety car for this. Has to be said, Teon will still pick up 1 point. He's finished more than 90% of the race, so he'll still get a point for this, and no VSC as well. So the race is still going on. We see the battle here that remains for P4. Podium looks like it's locked out between, oh, and look at that. Nice Shrimp making a mistake, and Redeemer is all over it. He's 18 laps in here on the hards. Did the same as Funky under safety car. Opted not to pit, and it looks like it's working out here for him. Gotta say the same for the Zoom as well. The Zoom here, third place. Oh, and that barrier is sticking out even more. Let's see if we can really pick that up here from Redeemer. How much is really affecting our guys? See him in his braking zone. And yeah, they just really got to be careful. And unfortunately, it's just kind of what you have to deal with here with Cody's. It's not perfect whatsoever, and we're praying that 2020 doesn't have small glitches like this, but that's what our drivers have to deal with tonight here at Singapore. And for the most part, they have done fairly well. As we now see Funky Cactus here in P1, about to come around for lap 30. He's going to have 2 more laps to go after this, and that is going to be him sitting in P1. His teammate of Vexing Track sitting in P11. And Funky will be looking at a 15-point deficit to his teammate after this race, as we'll see who has the fastest lap of the race. It looks like that is PPR Ollie's there. Got to see him 139.6. Currently sitting in P9. As he's the last driver remaining on the grid, sitting there in last place that is still out. But nonetheless, he's going to get that extra point there. So, congrats to PPR Ollie's. Oh, as it looks like Funky tapped the wall just a little bit. But looks like his front wing is still intact. As there we have it. Grid's pretty spread out so far, as we're now on lap 30 of 31. But like I said, very early in the stream, Singapore provides us with some crazy racing. For some it's a fun track to race on. For others, it's a nightmare, and it's just really all the way you make it. As we see, the real stallist now in the pits doesn't really care. I mean, he's probably trying to just go for the fastest lap, but I would presume. As we now see Funky here, as Vexing Track has left the session before he sees his teammate get the race win. But oh, we now have a Red Bull. Was that Orange Crush? Yeah, it looks like Orange Crush gone off, losing his tired front wing. Maybe he's going to try to finish like that under these conditions. Well, now sitting on board here with Funky Cactus. Most of the gas are broken out tonight, and you got to really give it to him. He's done a tremendous job tonight, showing his true pace. As we see the barrier glitch right there. That's very unfortunate. Hopefully Cody's can fix that, but still hats off to Funky. Showing his true pace tonight, shown that he has what it takes to win this championship. And so now cut the lead, as we've said, down to 15 points to his teammates. So it is all up to grabs. Got 6 more races to go. And this one might go out to the final all the way up to Abu Dhabi. Who knows? But nonetheless, looks like Funky is going to get the race win. As he's just got a few more turns to go. And that'll be it for him. Also got to say hats off to big Mr. Brown. Going to finish here in P2. Quite the race from him. And then the Zoom as well. The Zoom going to round off our podium spots. I don't believe any time penalties are really going to take a massive effect here on our end results. And there we have it. Funky Cactus across the line. You see all the fireworks going off. That is P1, first place for Funky. Here comes big Mr. Brown in second place, followed by the Zoom in third in the Alfa Romeo. And what a great night it's been for the McLaren team. You got second place, big Mr. Brown, and then fourth place, LDR Redeemer. And then very far behind him is Nitrip, who's actually gone off. And luckily, he is pretty far ahead of Fontes right there. It looks like Nitrip is still going to be pretty safe there in fifth place. As Nitrip's going to cross the line. And there you have it, Nitrip. That is P5. Followed by Fontes, who's had a up and down night all night. They're going to finish in P6. And then behind them is Orange Crush, who just lost his entire front wing and is trying to manage it till the end. So we'll let him cross the line and really see if we can get our podium finishers in already. As we will get our podium celebrations over very quickly, and then our driver interviews in as well. We're actually joined by Funky right now at the moment. Funky P1. It seemed like you just had the pace over everyone tonight. I mean, how is that feeling for you? How was that race? How did the safety car really shape out your decision? It looks like you didn't decide to pit. You stayed on the hards. Kind of what was your thought process during the whole entire race?
Yeah, I had a feeling that I had a pace advantage when I qualified on the mediums at the start, so I just decided to make a gap. And once the safety car came out, I was a little bit stressed, but because like I put on the hards right there. So when the safety car came out, I decided to stay up because Vexing was like 3 seconds behind me, and I didn't want to hold him up in the pits.